When jealousy blinded him, he almost lost the person who mattered most. Would you make the same mistake? Gabriel had a secret, and it lived inside his heart like a small drum that never stopped beating. Every morning, when he walked to the small shop near his street, he hoped he would see Sara. She was always kind to everyone. She smiled at old women, greeted children, and spoke softly to strangers. She had bright eyes and a calm voice. When she laughed, it sounded like soft music. Gabriel liked everything about her. But he never spoke to her. Whenever Sara passed by, Gabriel would look at her for a long time. He would fix his shirt, clear his throat, and then do nothing. His legs would feel heavy. His mouth would feel dry. His heart would beat so fast that he thought everyone could hear it. Sara never noticed him staring. One day, Gabriel sat with his best friend, Paul, under a mango tree. The sun was hot, but Gabriel felt cold inside. I like Sara, Gabriel said quietly. Paul smiled. Then tell her. I can't, Gabriel said quickly. What if she laughs at me? What if she says no? I won't survive it. Paul shook his head. Rejection won't kill you. Not trying will hurt you more. Gabriel looked at the ground. Please talk to her for me. Please. If you are my friend, help me. Paul did not like the idea. You should go yourself, he said again. If she rejects you, try again. Show her your heart. But Gabriel would not listen. He begged and begged until Paul sighed. Fine, Paul said at last. I will talk to her. But remember, I warned you. Gabriel smiled for the first time that day. He felt brave now because someone else would do the hard part. But sometimes, when we run from fear, we run into bigger trouble. The next afternoon, Paul saw Sara near the bakery. She was buying bread and laughing with the shop owner. Paul walked up to her with confidence. Hello, he said politely. My name is Paul. Sara smiled warmly. Hello, Paul. They talked for a few minutes about simple things, the weather, the busy street, the long line at the bakery. Sara was easy to talk to. She listened well and smiled often. After some time, Paul cleared his throat. I have a friend, he said carefully. His name is Gabriel. He likes you very much. Sara raised her eyebrows. Gabriel, she asked softly. Yes. He is shy, Paul explained. He is afraid you will reject him. Sara looked a little surprised. If he likes me, why didn't he come himself? She asked. Paul had no good answer. I would have loved to know him, Sara said gently. But it seems like he is not serious. Her words were calm, but they were strong. Paul nodded slowly. I understand. When Paul went back to Gabriel, he told him everything. Gabriel felt both happy and worried. She said she would have loved to know me, he asked. Yes, Paul replied. But she thinks you are not serious. Gabriel thought for a moment. Then he said, go again. Help me. Talk to her more. Make her see that I care. Paul frowned. You should go yourself. No, Gabriel insisted. Please. Paul looked at his friend. He saw fear in Gabriel's eyes. He saw weakness. And he also saw a storm that was coming, though he did not know how big it would be. Days passed, and Paul kept seeing Sara. At first, it was only to talk about Gabriel. But slowly, their conversations became longer. They talked about dreams. They talked about family. They talked about life. Sara felt comfortable around Paul. One evening, as the sun was going down, Sara looked at Paul in a different way. Her eyes were soft. Paul, she said quietly, can I tell you something? Of course, he replied. I like you. Paul's heart jumped. He was shocked. But I was trying to connect you with my friend, he said quickly. Sara looked straight at him. Did you feel the same way for me or not? Paul did not speak for a second. He looked at her face. He saw kindness. He saw beauty. He saw honesty. Who will see such a beautiful lady with a good character and reject her? He said softly. Sara smiled brightly. That is a yes, right? Paul swallowed. Yes. And just like that, everything changed. When Paul told Gabriel what happened, the world inside Gabriel's heart broke into pieces. You betrayed me, Gabriel shouted. I warned you, Paul said calmly. I told you to go by yourself. Gabriel's eyes were full of anger. You stole her from me. I did not steal anyone, Paul replied. She chose. But Gabriel could not hear the reason. His pain was too loud. And pain, when not controlled, can turn into something dangerous. Gabriel stopped talking to Paul. He ignored him on the street. He spoke badly about him to others. He tried to make him look bad. Sometimes, he even pushed him during arguments. But Paul never fought back. One day, after Gabriel shouted at him again, Paul said quietly, I told you to go on your own. You refused. Now she chose me, and you are angry with me. Gabriel's fists were tight. His face was red. Sara saw everything. She walked forward bravely and stood beside Paul. Gabriel, she said firmly, what happened to you is not his fault. It is not my fault either. Gabriel looked at her, shocked. Sara continued, Paul wanted me to be with you. I was the one who refused. I chose him because he is a good man. Her words felt like heavy stones dropping on Gabriel's heart. He still cared about you even after you left him, she added. But you are not acting like a true friend. You are blinded by selfishness. The people around were quiet. Gabriel felt small. For the first time, he saw himself clearly. And he did not like what he saw. Gabriel could not sleep that night. He lay on his bed and stared at the ceiling. Sara's words kept playing in his head again and again. You are blinded by selfishness. Those words hurt more than anything else. He turned to one side. Then the other. His chest felt heavy. He remembered how he and Paul used to laugh together. They had shared food, secrets, and dreams. They had promised to always stand by each other. Now everything was broken. The next day, Gabriel saw Paul from far away. Paul was helping an old man carry a heavy bag. Sara was standing beside him, smiling proudly. Gabriel felt something sharp inside him. It was not love. It was not friendship. It was jealousy. And jealousy can make a good person do bad things. Later that week, Gabriel told some boys in the neighborhood that Paul was not a loyal friend. He said Paul stole his love. The boys started whispering. Soon, people were looking at Paul differently. Paul noticed. But he did not fight back. When one of the boys asked him, did you really steal your friend's girl? Paul simply said, no one is stolen. People choose. His calmness made Gabriel even angrier. One afternoon, Gabriel pushed Paul hard during an argument. Paul almost fell. Fight me, Gabriel shouted. Paul looked at him sadly. You are my brother. I will not fight you. Those words made Gabriel more confused than angry. Why was Paul not fighting back? Why was he still kind? Gabriel walked away, but inside him, there was a battle growing stronger every day. Sara was worried. She could see the pain in Gabriel's eyes, even when he tried to hide it. One evening, she decided to speak to him alone. She found him sitting near the mango tree where he and Paul used to sit. Gabriel, she said gently. He did not look at her. Why are you here? To tell me how happy you are. No, she replied calmly. I am here because I care. He laughed bitterly. Care? You chose him. Yes, she said honestly. I chose him. But that does not mean I hate you. Gabriel finally looked at her. His eyes were red. You made me look like a fool. Sara shook her head. You made yourself look afraid. Her words were not cruel, but they were true. You were too scared to speak for yourself, she continued. Paul did not steal me. I saw his courage. I saw his honesty. Gabriel felt tears in his eyes, but he quickly wiped them away. You still have a chance to be a better man, Sara said softly. But not if you keep hurting the people who care about you. She left him there with his thoughts. And for the first time, Gabriel began to question himself. Days passed. Paul tried to avoid trouble. He focused on his work and spent time with Sara. Their bond grew stronger. They laughed easily together. They respected each other. But Paul's heart was not completely at peace. He missed his friend. One night, Paul's mother noticed his silence. What is wrong? She asked. Paul sighed. I may have lost a brother. She listened carefully as he explained everything. After he finished, she said, a true friend is tested in hard times. Do not hate him. Pain can make people act badly. Paul nodded slowly. The next day, he went to Gabriel's house. Gabriel opened the door and was surprised. What do you want? Gabriel asked coldly. I came to check on you, Paul said simply. Gabriel was silent. I know you are hurting, Paul continued. But I never wanted to hurt you. Gabriel looked away. You are still my brother, Paul added. No matter what. For a second, Gabriel's face softened. But his pride was still too big. I don't need your pity, he said, and shut the door. Paul stood there for a moment, then walked away quietly. Weeks later, something unexpected happened. Gabriel got into trouble with some older boys in the area. He had spoken badly to one of them, and they were angry. They surrounded him near a quiet street. You talk too much, one of them said. Gabriel felt fear rise in his throat. Suddenly, a familiar voice shouted, leave him alone. It was Paul. Without thinking, Paul stepped between Gabriel and the boys. He is with me, Gabriel said firmly. The boys hesitated. They respected Paul because he was known to be calm and fair. After a few tense seconds, they walked away. Gabriel was shaking. You came, he said softly. Of course, Paul replied. I told you. You are my brother. Gabriel could not speak. For the first time, he saw what real friendship looked like. And for the first time, he felt truly ashamed. Gabriel stood there for a long time after the boys left. His legs still felt weak. His heart was beating fast, but not because of fear anymore. It was because of shame. Paul had just saved him. The same person he had bullied. The same person he had insulted. The same person he tried to harm. Yet Paul stood in front of him without fear. Gabriel, are you okay? Paul asked gently. Gabriel nodded slowly. He could not look into Paul's eyes. Why did you help me? Gabriel finally asked. Paul looked confused. Because you are my brother. Those simple words broke something inside Gabriel. He remembered the day he begged Paul to talk to Sara for him. He remembered how patient Paul had been. He remembered all the times they had helped each other. And he remembered how he had turned into someone ugly because of jealousy. I am sorry, Gabriel said quietly. Paul smiled a little. I know you are hurting. But hurting others will not heal you. Gabriel swallowed hard. Tears filled his eyes, but this time he did not hide them. For the first time, he felt ready to change. The next morning, Gabriel woke up with a heavy but clear heart. He knew he needed to fix what he had broken. He went around the neighborhood and told the boys the truth. Paul did not steal anyone, he said. Sara chose him. I was wrong. The boys looked surprised. Some of them nodded. It was not easy for Gabriel to admit he was wrong. His pride fought against him. But each time he told the truth, he felt lighter. Later that day, he saw Sara and Paul walking together. His heart squeezed, but it did not burn like before. He walked up to them slowly. Sara looked cautious. Paul looked calm. I owe both of you an apology, Gabriel said. Sara crossed her arms. For what exactly? For everything, Gabriel replied. For blaming you. For bullying Paul. For acting like a child. There was silence. Paul placed a hand on Gabriel's shoulder. It takes courage to say that. Sara studied Gabriel's face. She could see he meant it. I never wanted you to suffer, she said softly. I only wanted honesty. Gabriel nodded. I understand now. And in that moment, something heavy finally left his chest. Even though Gabriel had apologized, rebuilding trust was not easy. Some people still whispered. Some people still remembered his anger. But Gabriel did not run away anymore. He started helping more around the neighborhood. He volunteered at small events. He treated Paul kindly again. Slowly, people noticed the change. One evening, Gabriel sat alone and thought about love. He realized something important: love is not forcing someone to choose you. Love is not controlling people. Love is not anger when you don't get what you want. Love is respect. And respect begins with courage. He smiled sadly but peacefully. For the first time, he felt strong without trying to prove anything. Months passed. Paul and Sara grew closer every day. Their bond was built on honesty, respect, and open conversation. One afternoon, Paul invited Gabriel to join them for a small gathering. At first, Gabriel felt nervous. But he went. They laughed together again. It was not exactly like before, but it was real. Later that evening, Paul asked Sara to take a short walk with him. Gabriel watched them from a distance, curious. Under the soft light of the evening sky, Paul stopped walking. He held Sara's hands. A long time ago, I tried to connect you with my friend, Paul said with a smile. But life had another plan. Sara laughed softly. You are the best thing that happened to me, Paul continued. Will you marry me? Sara's eyes filled with tears of joy. Yes, she whispered. Gabriel saw Sara hug Paul tightly. For a second, his heart felt a small sting. But then he smiled. He clapped his hands gently as he walked toward them. Congratulations, he said sincerely. Paul looked at him carefully. You are okay? Gabriel nodded. Yes. I finally understand. Sara smiled warmly at him. Thank you for growing. Gabriel laughed softly. It was painful. Growth usually is, Paul replied. They stood there together, not as enemies, not as rivals, but as people who had learned something important. A few weeks later, at their small engagement celebration, Paul spoke to everyone. I almost lost a brother because of misunderstanding and fear, he said. But real brotherhood forgives. He looked at Gabriel. Gabriel is still my brother. He will always be. People clapped. Gabriel felt tears in his eyes again, but this time they were not tears of shame. They were tears of gratitude. He walked up to Paul and hugged him tightly. I was blind, Gabriel said softly. And now? Paul asked. Now I can see. Sara smiled as she watched them. Life had not given Gabriel the girl he wanted. But it gave him something greater. It gave him wisdom. It gave him growth. It gave him the chance to become a better man. And sometimes, that is the most beautiful ending of all. The news of Paul and Sara's engagement spread quickly around the neighborhood. People smiled when they saw them together. Some said they were a perfect match. Others said they always knew it would happen. Gabriel heard all the comments. This time, he did not feel anger. He felt quiet. At night, he sometimes remembered the old days when he used to sit and dream about Sara being his wife. Those dreams still hurt a little. But now, the pain did not control him. Instead, it reminded him of a lesson: if you are too afraid to speak, you may lose your chance. One afternoon, Gabriel was walking home when a young boy stopped him. Brother Gabriel, the boy said shyly, I like a girl in my class, but I'm scared to talk to her. Gabriel almost laughed. Life had given him a strange moment. He knelt down and smiled at the boy. If you like her, speak for yourself. Don't send someone else. And don't be angry if she says no. The boy nodded. As the boy ran away, Gabriel realized something important. His mistake had become his wisdom. And that made him feel stronger. Paul and Sara were busy preparing for their small wedding ceremony. They did not want anything too big. They only wanted family, close friends, and peace. One evening, Paul came to Gabriel. I want you to stand beside me during the ceremony, Paul said. Gabriel looked surprised. Are you sure? Very sure, Paul replied. You are my brother. Gabriel felt his throat tighten. After everything I did. Paul nodded. Yes. Forgiveness means we move forward. Gabriel looked down for a moment, then smiled. I won't disappoint you. For days, Gabriel helped with preparations. He carried chairs. He decorated the small hall. He even made sure the sound system worked well. Some people watched him carefully. They remembered how angry he used to be. But they also saw how he had changed. And change is powerful when it is real. The day of the wedding finally came. Sara wore a simple but beautiful wedding gown. Her smile was bright and calm. Paul looked proud and happy. Gabriel stood beside Paul, wearing a clean suit and holding his head high. When the families gathered, there was joy in the air. Paul's father spoke first. Marriage is not only about love, he said. It is about responsibility and friendship. Sara's mother added, and it is about honesty. Gabriel listened carefully. When it was time for Paul to speak, he held Sara's hand. I promise to respect you, he said. I promise to listen. I promise to always choose honesty. Sara smiled and replied, and I promise to stand by you, even in hard times. Everyone clapped. Gabriel felt something warm in his chest. Not jealousy. Not sadness. But peace. After the ceremony, people danced and laughed. At one point, Paul pulled Ode into a hug in front of everyone. This is my brother, Paul said proudly. Gabriel felt tears again, but he did not hide them. He hugged Paul back tightly. I am proud of you, Gabriel whispered. And I am proud of the man you have become, Paul replied. Later that night, when the celebration ended, Gabriel walked home alone. The moon was bright. The street was quiet. He thought about everything that had happened. If he had spoken earlier, maybe things would be different. But maybe not. He realized something very deep. Sara did not belong to him. She was not a prize to win. She was a person who could choose. And she chose Paul. That did not make Gabriel small. It simply meant life had another path for him. As he walked, he felt lighter than he had in many months. He knew he would love again someday. But next time, he would be brave. Next time, he would speak for himself. And if the answer was no, he would accept it with respect. Because now he understood. Love without courage can lead to regret. Jealousy can destroy friendship. But forgiveness can rebuild what anger breaks. From that day on, Gabriel and Paul were truly brothers again. Not because nothing bad had happened. But because they had faced the storm, learned from it, and chosen peace over pride. And that choice changed all of them forever. Be brave enough to speak and act when something truly matters to you, because fear often leads to regret. Respect people's choices and never treat anyone as a possession. Guard your heart against jealousy and pride, as they can destroy your peace and relationships. True strength is shown through self-control, forgiveness, and the willingness to admit when you are wrong. Life may not always give you what you want, but if you learn from every experience, you will grow wiser and stronger. If this story adds value to you, please do well to give me a like, share, and comment on the video to share your thoughts. Most importantly, please support me by subscribing to this channel, turn on the notification button and follow for more interesting stories. Thanks for watching.